What's up, YouTube? I'm not streaming on Twitch, and I'm just solely recording for all of you. All right, we're playing a Ukrainian 2772. I'll start with e4. I guess we'll play principled. It's a modern defense. Play a typical setup, knight c3. Black is trying to play b5. There's a lot of good lines here. I'll play queen d2, which is the most principled. I believe we are in a main line. And now I'll play h4 to try to play for h5. Try to induce an h-pawn move. Right, so h5 is played. This gives me access to the g5 square, which I quite like. Okay, and now I'm going to play g takes h3. This is a very edgy approach, and it just basically prevents black from putting a piece on the g4 square, and it allows me to play f4. Normally in these structures as white, you have to play f3 to prevent black from playing the exact same knight jump to you. But in this case, even though these pawns are double stacked and in a traditional sense a bit ugly, it's actually okay. Now I'm keeping flexible where I want to castle. Just in general, the position is quite flexible. I can play e5 here, which attacks the rook. That looks like a pretty promising move. Maybe my opponent will sack. They might play like de. That's a reasonable move. Bishop d4. What's the idea? Is it to play de? Did I just blunder? Is that what I just did? Was this just stupid? Knight? Knight e5 has gotta be bad. Gotta be bad. I've done like zero analysis on this, and I'm pretty sure this is bad. Because I can just go here, right? And I can castle. And I'm just up a rook for a bishop. Of course, the position is still pretty complicated. Ooh, if you let me... Can I play f4? Now I think I'm just cleanly better, because I'm forcing black to trade with me, and with the king there, I'm going f5. I think I'm busting this position open. Of course, I have to like be careful not to get checkmated, which, of course, is kind of always a... always something to be on the lookout for, but I think I'm doing okay. Queen e3, or I like queen d3. It just feels like a safe move. No way to get hit by the knight. There's no mate threats. I can walk my king to the corner. This also puts more pressure on this. I am worried about knight e4 to try to play knight f2, but I'm also not worried about it because I just need to prevent knight f2, and I can do that by playing this or playing queen e3. Like I can play queen d3 and then queen e3. Whoa. Okay, we have to, of course, throw in a check. That also, please apologize, the hissing radiator in the back. Queen f5. And life is good. I mean, my mate is protected, right? There is no mate. Queen f4. My opponent's going to try to play like, you know, queen e4, queen c6. In positions like this, of course, you're thinking about... Yeah, there's queen e4. You're thinking about getting mated, of course. But you're also thinking about things like endgames. Because this could transform to an endgame. And in the endgame, I'm not really sure who's better. I'm not really sure who's better. Because my pawns are very bad. This is a very big endgame liability. My opponent has very active pawns. There's no checks, there's no threats. I can check and kick the king out into the open a little bit. That just looks smart. I don't know if it is smart. Maybe queen a8 to try to just ask some questions. Knight e4, of course, still looking very reasonable. I don't actually know what I'm going to do against that. Maybe rook d4. I should not even know queens could move that far. King b1. King b1 looks smart. Then I'll double my rooks next. King b1's always kind of like smart when you castle long. This should be on the way. I gotta make sure not to get mated. I should also speed up a little bit. Gotta speed up at some point. Really gotta be careful about moving pawns in front of my king, weakening certain square complexes. Maybe my queen should go there. What is this move? What a weird move. Why do you play queen a5? What does that even begin to do? Now that's hanging. That's actually a huge problem. Queen f7. There's knight c3. Knight c3 doesn't work now. Queen there. Really serious pressure building. Rook e4. I don't like this barrier my opponent has. Gave this up, but there is this. That's a check. Oh, this is so scary. That's mate, so I have to trade. Wow, that was tough. That was tough. I mean, my goodness. Wow. Wow, that was tough. That was not easy at all. Poof. Okay, we can analyze that. I was winning. And I'm winning here in the endgame because my king is very safe. And probably I can pick off my opponent's weaknesses one by one, which is kind of what I did. I mean, I missed queen e7 because I didn't have a lot of time, but then I found it. And yeah, this is winning because the attack on white here is an illusion. Unless, of course, I take and blunder knight c3 with, you know, limited time on the clock. But a3, I took because I was just very worried about getting checked. But I could have probably just played like rook b3, rook b1. Can I play rook b3? Then knight c5. Computer prefers rook b1. Prefers rook b1 because but that's very tough to play with low time. Here, of course, my opponent should just take probably with the queen. But this allows me to immediately create counterplay, and I'm still a pawn up. So, but throughout this game, I mean, I thought, okay, e5 was a very bad move, actually. This was really smart, and here my opponent should have just went here. Because after bishop a8, there are two hanging bishops, and the rook hangs, and the bishop hangs. e5 was a little bit too aggressive. I should have just stuck to good principles, kept developing, and then launched an attack when I was ready. I violated some principles, and e5 is just way too bold. Just way too bold of a move. And yeah, I mean, I definitely rushed things here, but it was interesting. And you know, the game I think was quite instructive. Like, for example, here this move f4 is very, very good because the bishop is really the shining piece in black's position. It's something I don't have, and it's always going to be a useful piece to create problems like pins and long-term problems from the corner, but there are no long-term problems if your bishop gets trapped in the center of the board, which is what you have to be careful about with your bishop. So, take. And now, yeah, without question here, the best move for white is certainly f5. And queen d3 was a good move. Here things got, yeah, I shouldn't have went in, actually. I lost all of my advantage when I allowed black to consolidate. It's actually kind of interesting. You would think that this is what you want to do, but the computer here says play defense. Play it smart. Don't rush. Actually, where the king is right now is more beneficial to white than there. And for example, if a5, I can play things like rook g5 probably. Oh, wow, and oh, yeah, that's pretty brutal. And I can always transform this position into a winning queen and rook situation because I have irresistible threats. Yeah, that's tough. That's tough. Patience. Had to stay patient there. And I did not stay patient. I had to stay patient. Didn't do that. And I instead decided to go all in. And I actually, I think it was probably worse at some point. Maybe not. But I was very scared here. But as it turns out, the king is completely safe. As long as all the pawns in front of your king are pretty well protected, like, life should be good. And it turns out that this whole time, black was the one with the weaker king. So, yeah. Wow. Wow. Alright, well. They do be like that sometimes.